Thunderbirds are not here. You're live.
Yeah, and it also sounds like the cupboard monkey is coming to us from a cardboard box.
Well, I was trying some sort of interesting voice, but it doesn't really work.
No, you see, there's something in there that you said that is a complete lie. You said an interesting voice. That is false advertising. But hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the Monday Club. And today, well, have we got a great show for you?
Have you?
Come on, just hear me out here. Hear me out.
Go on then. Convince me.
Yeah. Anyway.
Are you going to try and convince me?
Right. Are you finished?
Yes.
Today, have we...
I'm joking.
I've got a present for you. Can you guess
what it
what
is? Is it a slap?
Is it a what?
A slap.
No, look, I'll give you a clue. I'm covering up your present.
Just the one of them?
Just the one. Right, anyway, have we got a great show for you? Today, as the title suggests, we're talking about the two terriers that are on the market. Yes, cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war.
That is a terrible pun.
It's Hornby's Hounds versus Dapol's Dogs. Yeah, it's the terrier fight. It's not a death match. But there's been so much talk online at the moment, especially, well, RM Web, which is kind of a little bit of a place where lots of people shoot the breeze, put in their 2 pence worth. But I thought it might be interesting, as I do actually have one of each, to kind of talk a little bit about my experiences and also hopefully hear from some of you guys. So if you've got one or the other, or indeed even both of the terriers, I'd love to hear from you today about what you actually think about them. You know, basically, we'll cut through all of the dross. There's a lot of people who are criticising one or the other based purely on photographs, looking at what other people say about it, and actually, it's the best way of actually kind of comparing them is first-hand primary source comparing directly a physical Rails Dapol Terrier with a physical Hornby Terrier, and that's what I'm planning on doing today. And also, just to let you know, for some reason I've got an advert going on my phone. Why has it got an advert? Also, just to let you know as well that today's stream comes with sponsorship by Almost Media. Yep, they're the live stream sponsor today. They are publishers of a wide variety of books and comics, and today we come supported by them.
Turn your microphone up a bit.
Apparently, turn my microphone up a bit, according to the cupboard monkey. So, how are we doing there? We're just sort of touching the yellows. Loads of people, I know it's one of those things with YouTube live streams. A lot of people go, oh, you're too quiet or you're too loud. And yeah, I know you guys have got a volume at your end, but I've got one at my end as well. So hopefully we're going out bang on the top of the green, just touching the yellow. So if I'm now still too quiet or too loud, then I'm afraid it's down to you and your volume knob. Because mine only goes to 11. But we're not going to get that miniature rendition of Stonehenge coming down from above. But anyway, let's have a look. We've got loads of people in. Lots of familiar names. Thomas Van Steyen, hi to you. Lettuce Trains, haven't seen you in for a while. Southern Train Girl, Ben Tullett, Rachel Houston, Keep Calm and Make Stuff. That is a good name, actually, all through lockdown. I think that's been the mantra for an awful lot of modelers, is keep calm and make stuff. Anfield Road Layout in the Loft, Patrick Ling, Finley Carden, Russell Benton. Oh my word, ready to go Jenny, wine glass in hand. I approve. New Mills Model Railway, it's a bit wet today. Yeah, it is actually. It's been moist all day. I think moist has been the operative word. Dave Greening, hi to you. It's not a crumble night here tonight. We are trying to lose weight. We've finally bit the bullet and realised that actually we've got to meet that weight loss halfway and not eat crumbling cream all the time. Richard Swiderski, hi to you. Simon Trains, MRS, Robert Cesare, David Cook, Meridian Parkway, Finley Garden, Josh's Train Room, David Cook, Colin Wykes, Meridian Parkway again. Skip, hi to you. Apparently it's International Fries Day. That does sound like something I could get behind. Matt Mas 2, Great Northern 6. Flymo Chairman 1, hi to you. Ron Stanbridge, hi as well. Elven Home Engage Model Railway, Vobert Becking, and 57305 Northern Princess. Gosh, these comments are coming in quick. Jack's Model Railway, Andy 1962, Volume OK here in Scotland. Bring on Miniature Stonehenge. Yeah, because this amp goes up to 11. Yeah, New Mills Model Railway. Moist, love that word. Yes, write that down, darling. Whoa, what a dirty word, along with bollard. Whoa. Roger Hunter, hi to you. Mark Rice, Chris Gal, 1959. Says, good evening, Jenny and Zoe. Bit of an odd day weather-wise here in North Yorkshire. Now, I've got, before I forget, I did promise that I would mention, let's have a look. We've got a virtual model railway exhibition, which I believe is going on Sunday, I think. Let me just double check. Virtual, is it Model Rail Network Virtual Exhibition 2020? And I think pretty much all of the bricks and mortar physical in-person exhibitions have been cancelled this year. So this is a great thing that's going on with a lot of these virtual model railway exhibitions that keep people in touch with what models are out there, and it at least gives you as much of that experience as it's possible to in these difficult times. So it's this Sunday at 10 o'clock, online event, group event on Facebook. I'm hoping somebody will be able to share the link in the comments down below. Apparently 2 options. You can join the Facebook group to watch it, or watch it all on YouTube. Both links are below here. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to copy the YouTube link, and where have you gone, live stream, and I am going to post the link to that in, oh, let's have a look. So hopefully, right, that's cut and pasted, but that's for the virtual model railway exhibition. Let me go back to the details. So I promised that I would mention this Model Rail Network virtual exhibition. We've got a trailer for the show we might try and play later on when we show off some of your model railway video footage that we sent the links to at Zoe at zoerobinson.com, and looking forward to those. I had some really good layouts last week, so great modelling going on out there. Really did enjoy all of those. But also, hopefully there should be a link in the description box down below. Let me just bish bash bosh boosh. It's gone broken for me. Let's change the camera angles, and Ben Davis says, hi Jennifer, thanks for the live stream. Thank you very much. Lettuce Trains, yes. What's on the layout? Ooh, what is on the layout actually? Well, going round on the innermost track, you will see it's actually the Hornby Terrier in Southeastern and Chatham Railway liveries, number 751. That's the subject of today's kind of little bit of a debate. You know, just a Q&A, see what people think of the Rails Terrier, Rail/Dapol Terrier versus the Hornby Terrier. We've actually got the Hornby Terrier running. Now, I had to do a lot of tweaking to get it to run reliably. It does now run reliably, but out of the box, the first issue that I've had with my Hornby Terrier is that the pickups don't really quite impact on the back of the wheels properly. So I was getting a lot of intermittent current pickup, and actually the way that that kind of manifested itself was it was just sulking at every time it came to a point. The Rail/Dapol Terrier, conversely, out of the box, has just run consistently from day one. I haven't had to adjust anything. So there you are, the first plus point that I found. Now I know that pickups that need bending out towards the wheels, it's something that does afflict a lot of manufacturers from time to time. It is also an easy fix, but it's just, you know, one of those little things of just sharing with you as a personal experience. But going back to today's sponsor, All Mouse Media, I get told off if I don't mention all of these. There's a link down below, and you can, of course, buy the books that I have written that are published by them. So I've got Bringing Home the Stars and its sequel, Twinkle Little Star. And if you buy these through the link down below and put in the comments box, tell them Jenny sent me. If you put Jenny sent me, you will exclusively get a signed copy of one or the other or both of these. So you can leave a little message, and you know, as long as it's not asking me to recite the entirety of the Old Testament on the, like, just write really small, you'll get it all in. But you know, a little sort of short personalised message, we can do that. And I can't remember how much they're being done for. I think they are on special offer at the moment. The Cupboard Monkey will probably, actually no, the Cupboard Monkey's got a gammy knee, so you should probably type it in the comments and tell you what these are going for. But also, at the links, you can pick up some of the other stuff that I've been involved with, including All Over the House, Books 1 and Books 2. Unfortunately, I can't sign these because even though I am physically holding copies here, the copies that get sent out are coming from a warehouse elsewhere. So there's no way for me to sign them, but certainly these are a great read, and it's part of the online comic that the Cupboard Monkey and I do. And there is also, I haven't got a copy hanging around, one of the other webcomics that we do as well. So really great books, great as a present for somebody else that you know, great for yourself. Why not treat yourself? And it's also a great way that you can help the show, because every book that you buy, I get a few pence in royalties. It's really great, and I'm sure the publisher will be happy to shift some of this this rubbish out of their warehouse to make way for some decent titles from some of the authors that they're publishing and what's forthcoming. Also, don't forget, we've got the super chat, but there's also a paypal.me link, and of course everybody's favorite, yeah, all the cool kids are talking about how good it is, Patreon as well. You can support the show. Don't listen to anybody who tells you that Patreon's for wusses. No, it's not. But hey, big thank you to, let's have a look, who have we got? Yeah, Simon Trains MRS says 1-0 to the Dapol Terrier. Yeah, keep a score and see how we get to. It has to be said, the Hornby Terrier, now it's been running for a bit, I've adjusted those pickups. It is a silky smooth runner. Now, both of these are DCC fitted. The Hornby locomotive is fitted with a 6-pin Hornby decoder, which is what Rose recommended. Now, here is another negative point on the Hornby Terrier. Now, I will get to the Rails Dapol Terrier. I don't think this is all one-sided, because it won't be. I'm perfectly brutally honest here. But the Hornby 6-pin decoder, I found the wires were too short to actually get it to properly fit, and I ended up hard wiring the Hornby 6-pin decoder in there, which kind of defeats the object. I believe that some of these problems have been rectified in the new batch that has started to come through. It's one of the things that Hornby actually does really well, is listen to some of these criticisms and act on them. We saw that with the 42XX, 52XX and the 72XX. Excuse me. We had moulded on smokebox darts and those weird square. Well, who does square bearings in the axles? I think they actually have just fitted into a square slot, which meant that wear was incredibly exacerbated. They listened to the criticism and put that right for the second batch, which was great. Cordus Moore says, thanks for the mention in the exhibition. All the videos are ready. Now we just need Sunday to hurry up. Oh, don't say that, because I'll have had to have gone back to work in the intervening time. Big hello to J94, Jack's Model Railway. You the man. Smash that button, guys. Very much. Ben Tullett, what if I want a signed copy of the book with the New Testament in it? Well, you can have a gold-plated Rolls Royce if you pay for it. I think having me transcribe the entire New Testament into the pages of my own book, a cool £1 million would probably see me do that. It's actually a lot of work. Have you ever seen a copy of the Bible? It's quite a substantial thing. Right. Wardle Road, good evening, Jenny, and all in chat. Did I hear the P word? Oh, God. P word? Oh, Patreon, you say. Yes, of course. You did hear the Patreon word. Richard Swiderski says, Hornby for me. Interesting. Have you had experience of both of them? I'm just curious. Also, we've got Rachel Houston. Oh, the comments just jumped. Asking about, is that a TARDIS I can see? Yes, it is. Back here, Doctor Who and the TARDIS. It does actually move around. It's the only Scenecraft structure that isn't very thoroughly glued to the layout. I think I was also telling you guys what the other trains are. So before I forget, coming round over there, we have a Hornby Class 31 is, I think, is it North Yorkshire Moors Railway or is it Granada Telethon? I think it's North Yorkshire Moors Railway, 31439 from memory, on a tanker train. A bit out of place with all the other steam stuff that's going on. But there is a reason why there's all Hornby locomotives going round, actually. And I can't tell you too much about it, but needless to say, I've been doing some filming. Right, we've also got a Lord Nelson class going round, and it is the actual sound fitted, the Hornby TTS sound fitted example. So we do have that going around. It came factory fitted. It was actually back when they were in a tremendously good sale deal. I know I spotted them at Hatton's. I think Kernow had them as well. I bought mine from Rails, but pretty much all of the major retailers had them at a pretty good sale price, and I took advantage of that. What else do we have? Well, we have the Q1. I got sick and tired of telling people, oh, maybe next week. People kept asking for the Q1. So we have 33006, which is a BR Lake Crest factory weathered Q1. I think it was one of the, may even be from the very first batch when it first appeared. And that would have been about 2002, 2003, something like that. And then finally, actually no, that is everything. Although you will see in shot a Hornby XLNY Class 21 Pug. And that is actually keyed in. I did see it on here. So that is fitted with the, when it finally picks up a bit of speed, that is fitted with one of the Train-O-Matic smart power packs, which means that it's actually quite a reliable runner despite its small size. So as you can see there, it's crawling along, and we don't get any of that juddery stop-start that you'd normally get when you just hardwire these things without what is in effect a stay alive. So pleased to be able to show you that. 51222 is the running number on that, and that was actually the very first locomotive I bought. It was after university when I got back into the hobby. I was working freelance at the BBC in Granada down in Manchester, and I remember walking past Bolton Model Mart, and they had it in the window, and it kind of suckered me in. I looked at it and thought, having that, it was just so pretty. Really did like it, never looked back, and it still ranks as one of my favourite locomotives. Big hello to Belmont Junction. Who else have we got? Tim Condrip. Is Zoe leg or back is better? Can't remember which one. It's a leg. She's pulled her knee. So, how are we doing? Bish Bash Bosh. Looking down. Rule 1 Model Railways. Hi to you. SJ Carter. AD Pullen, Hornby for me, heard too many bad things about the Dapol and Rails of Sheffield one. It is interesting, and what it goes to show is how almost dangerous for a model people talking negatively about it online is, because I'm guessing what we're seeing now is people going, oh, well, I'm going to steer clear of that because I've heard people say bad things about it, and not necessarily with that initial like being and seeing it in the flesh. Now I have both here. Now I'm going to stop the Hornby one so that I can fish it off the track. So I'm going to stop her there. And this is the Rails of Sheffield one. When I did the review, I have to say, right, plus points. Right, we've had a couple of negative points from the Hornby one. The big negative point that everybody is talking about on the Rails of Sheffield one is it's difficult to explain, but once you see it, you do see it. It's not like it's hugely well hidden. The back of the cab is a one-piece moulding into the back part, the kind of the gully of the roof. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this locomotive down here. I'm going to take the Hornby one and I'm going to put them both Ooh, that didn't sound happy. Oh, they're okay now. And I'm going to use my roving cam. So let's just bring that up. And I'm going to try and get some extreme close-ups, although light is not working too well. So what we've got here is, if we look there, you can see the back, it's a little bit out of focus. It doesn't seem to want to focus when you get really close up. But you can see there's no join along this top bit of the back of the cab roof. If we go to the rails of Sheffield, not really helped by it not focusing in. It's not as obvious on the black coloured ones. I can just about, well, you know what you're looking for, you can just about make it out. I'm going to actually, give me a moment. Let's see if I can get an extra light on here. I think that might help us a little bit. So I'm just going to fish underneath, and I believe we're about to be
Cupboard monkey.
visited by the cupboard monkey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get a little bit of extra...
What on earth are you doing?
Getting some light. I'm trying to show people what I'm talking about. So,
Good luck with that.
yeah, I'm going to have to unplug the fan. It's the only one I can guarantee, isn't it?
Oh no, all the lights have gone off.
Yeah, I've unplugged my fan, so there'll be no praise for the time being.
Like, you just shone that straight in my face.
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? Right, so, again, I'm going to... Hopefully, this extra light might make things show up a little bit easier. What have you done?
I am currently trying to get something from your website.
Oh, this is lovely, ladies and gentlemen of the chat.
You can see it.
Right, now I can see it.
Oh, for goodness sake. The moment I try to do something that she wants me to do, it turns out she doesn't want me to do it.
I'm struggling to focus in on that. But other things, if we look now, so Hornby Terrier, this is actually not going as well as I thought. Mostly.
Oh, the light works there.
Is that better?
Yeah.
So they're not. I think one of these is an A1 and the other one is an A1X.
Got any A4? They'd be quite big.
Stop messing about, cupboard monkey. This is important train stuff. And for me, inside the cab was very much. Oh, cupboard monkey, stop messing about. I'm afraid the extreme close-up isn't really.
It's not working for you, no.
So it was a nice try, but
please take the light off the camera.
Yeah, just give me a moment. Give me a moment. God, just
hey, what do you like?
Do it now. Do it now.
Yeah, do it now.
Yeah, drop everything you're doing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. But essentially, for me, I'm just going to have to describe this now. So hopefully we've got kind of a sense of what's going on at the back there. That seems to be the big criticism that people who are criticising it have. But it kind of overlooks the advantages of the Rails and Dapol Terrier. For me, inside the cab, the Hornby model has solid glazing bars. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. It goes straight across the inside of the cab. It obscures some of the cab detail. And I know, who looks in the cab. Some people do. But from most viewing angles, you can't necessarily see a huge amount in the cab. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. The Rails of Sheffield one has flush glazing, and it is flush glazing inside and out. And that means that the interior of the cab detail is far easier to see. You don't get that shiny clear glazing bar. And you also get that flickering fire effect as well, which I thought when it was announced was a bit of a gimmick. But actually, once you see it in action, and we've seen it on the O-Gauge Terriers, the O-Gauge 14XX class, and it's going to be a feature on the forthcoming D class. It is actually quite nice. It's activated with the... I've got a Train-O-Matic 18-pin decoder in this. And I'll get to the DCC fitting in a bit because it was actually much easier to fit it. And that's on F3 on that. And it works really, really nicely. It's nice to see that manufacturers are using some of the other features of the decoder. Now the DCC fitting I found easier, not least because I didn't have to hardwire it in the end. That was a bit of a flaw that I know that Simon Kohler became aware of. I did talk to him about it. So hopefully that is fixed on the newer batch of them. And certainly it may just be some had slightly shorter wires than others. And I might have just had one that was a little bit difficult. But fitting the Rails Dapol Terrier is so easy. It also comes pre-fitted with a speaker. And what does that mean? That means sound fitting the Rails Dapol Terrier couldn't be easier. Whereas the Hornby one, well, I know that some people have kind of managed it, but you really have to fiddle. It's not easy. It's certainly not something that I would personally undertake. So on the DCC fitting, particularly the DCC sound fitting, the Rails Dapol one, it wins hands down. Detail in the cab, the Rails Dapol one, wins hands down. There's a few other aspects of it. I felt that some of the pipe work on the boiler, I know I've got two different varieties here, but the Rails stroke Dapol one does seem to have tooled up a lot more of the specific detail variations of different members of the class. The big thing where the Hornby one does come through is on price. At the moment, a lot of the Hornby Terriers can be had for £80.99 is the price that I've seen a lot of places. I know a few people have reported actually being able to get them for even cheaper than that. And if you do, then get in there, because it's not a bad model. And I keep having to tell people this. I'm not saying one of these is a rubbish model and the other is absolutely amazing. They are both really quite good models. And when you compare them to the old ex-Dapol, the Hornby Terrier, that was actually in the range for an awfully long time, lots of calls to upgrade it, did belatedly come, as we're now seeing proof of the pudding here on the layout. But yeah, stop it, cupboard monkey. But the difference between that old model, oh, that is nice. So we've now got, hopefully people will be seeing the branding for All Mouse Media. We forgot to do that at the start
I
of the
didn't
stream.
forget. It's just taken me half an hour to get Photoshop to actually work. Adobe, if you're watching, and I know you will be, because Adobe love stuff like this.
Do they?
Yeah, I'm just making that up. I don't know anything about them. But Adobe, if you're listening, please stop updating all of your stuff on a Monday when I'm trying to do things. Because it has to just
Surely
update and
they should
update
be
and
watching
update.
the Monday Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, of course, don't forget to share the stream, and that is really important. To let other
Like,
people-
share, comment and subscribe. It helps the channel
Definitely.
out.
But share it as well. Let people know that you're having fun hanging out here with lots of like-minded people. Anyway,
Is this your tipple of choice today?
yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. And whoa, Alistair McCullum, thank you very much. That is amazingly generous. I've just
My
spotted.
goodness.
Has that just come in now? Because I must have missed it. It came in about 10 minutes ago, I think.
Jen,
that
have
is
you been so
amazingly-
busy?
That is really, really generous of
Right.
Alistair McCullum. £4.99 on the
Thank you
super
so
chat.
much.
Hi Jenny, a wee question for you. If you could reopen any closed UK railway, which one would you go for? Greetings from Glasgow.
I've got to bet it would be the one that links Bolton to Bury.
Actually, that is a good choice, and that would definitely be up there. But I think, on a more pragmatic sense, my thoughts are that I would love to see... it's a really tough question. Yeah, I think Bolton to Bury would be a good one, but that's largely impractical now, thanks to short-sighted development. But I guess the line that goes over Latchford Viaduct, I always think it's a shame that that was shut. But the Fallowfield Loop line as well, and possibly the Woodhead route. If I had to pick one, I'd say the Fallowfield Loop line. I think it's a great shame. It lasted, I think it was lifted in 1988, and yet, lasting till that late, and yet they sold on for development. Places like, I think, Fallowfield Station site, they built a supermarket on there blocking the track bed, and yet it was still a working railway to 1988. It just seems so stupid.
I hope it wasn't a working railway when they put the supermarket in.
No.
That's the express train right into the frozen aisle. Right, I've got to go and get the cream to make the pie. Would you like anything while I'm there?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Are you sure?
You clearly want something, don't you?
I might want some chockies.
Look, just like, calm down. Let's have a look.
Right, I'm off screen.
Yeah, you do that. Go on, push off. Peter Leyland, hi to you. But thank you very much to Alistair McCallum for that super chat. And if I miss people's comments, I'm not doing it on purpose. It's
She's
just
really not. She's just that bad.
I start waxing lyrical, and quite frankly, it's very difficult sometimes to keep up. But I will try and get to stuff eventually. But thank you very much. That's very, very generous of you. Southern Train Girl says, I've got the old Dapol and old Hornby Terriers. Yeah, I've got 4 of them. They were good in their day, but when you compare them to the Hornby and the Rails Dapol Terrier, there's just no comparison. And both of these are great models. The Hornby edges it on price, but it's a bit like, the kind of person who goes into a restaurant, goes, oh yes, I will see the wine list, and then immediately focuses solely on price. If you focus solely on price, are you necessarily getting what you want? And I think for anybody who wants to go down the DCC route, the Dapol Rails one does edge it for that ease of DCC fitting and, more importantly, the sound fitting. It basically natively supports sound fitting. It's got the speaker already in there, and I just thought that was a great move from them. Conversely, if you want to sound fit the Hornby Terrier, you're going to have quite a job on your hands. Big hello, D827 Kelly, great to see you. SJ Carter, Tim Condrup says, I got a Hornby Q1. They are a great locomotive, and somewhere on the sprawling metropolis that is this layout. Hopefully, there, you'll just see it coming. Let's try and get it on that view, and we will have it coming into view at some point. But we've got, so look, Simon Trains MRS, Regional Railways is a great livery. It is one of my favourites, actually. James Moody, ooh, a TTS chip. That's Russian roulette based on prior record. And I have to say, actually, in fairness to Hornby, they did send through the replacement. So that locomotive now has a replacement chip in. We're not sure why the old one blew, so I'm going to do a few more tests before I do extensive running. But it does now run with sound. Everything seems hunky-dory. Right, as I said before, I'm not... oh, interesting. Gary Cox says, I've DCC fitted a centenary Smoky Joe. Runs great. Actually, I've heard that from a lot of people, that the little 040 like Smoky Joe type chassis locos actually on DCC become very controllable. And it's that particular motor, it dates back to, I think it's 1980. It's had so many iterations, excuse me, of refinement. It's actually a pretty good motor. And, it's cheap and cheerful, but it does the job. Right, Ben Tullett. I had a new arrival the other day, which was the Bachmann Webb coal tank locomotive from Rails of Sheffield, as they were a fantastic price, under £80. Yes, I've got one of those as well. I've actually got the BR one, which I got from Tim at Arcadia Models in Shaw. And remember, if you do use any of these places, and Tim is doing mail order, check out their website. Do tell them that Jenny sent you, because I don't get any kind of discount deal. It doesn't actually get me anything other than smugness. But certainly, yeah, I got mine from there. But I have seen that both the London and North Western Railway one and the LMS one are both on offer at Rails of Sheffield, and probably a few other places as well. Right. Leslie Gilpin says, is it me, or is the volume getting lower? Shouldn't be, according to what I've got up there. That let me just. All right, there you are. I've put. Oh no, I'm going right up to the reds there. So yeah, I think we're all right. Belmont Junction, hi to you. Mike and Sue Putnam Junction, hi to you. Naive Gauge, I've just cut the rails on my first ever joint across boards. I feel very grown up, like a proper big boy railway modeller now. I know what you mean. There's like that one point where you do something that your parents would have had a go at you for doing with your childhood toy trains. Things like cutting track. It is a big step. It's a bit like when you buy your first house and you get a garden shed. that is like, hey, look at me, all grown up, I've got a garden shed. So I know exactly what you mean. Big hello to Dundee Road and Tim's Trains as well. Mark Samway says, sorry Jen, have you taken the register yet? Kind of, yeah. Right, I'm going to actually... oh, interesting. Combat, but why is Jack's Model Railway being flagged? I'm not sure what's going on there. Old Double Art, good evening Jenny, Zoe and everyone in the shed. Thank you very much. It's always great to have all you guys in. And I always feel honoured and humbled that you all choose to spend your Monday evening here with me on the Monday Club in association with All Mouse Media. Why has that just stopped? Oh, have we just had... It's not popped. It's been slowly trying to stall out there for some time. What are you doing to me? I'm going to clean that track actually before... Oh. Now there's a huge long train going over it, so I was just... but I am going to skip down to the bottom because I think I am well behind. Jonesy Town and Weird Transport. Hi, how's you, Jenny? How's the old Volvo car? Volvo's doing grand, actually. Yeah, doing grand. Right, Andy 1962. Zoe to the rescue. Coddismore, this is going to end badly. You know it's coming. What's coming? Right, I'm just scrolling down. Coddismore says, bring on a DMU. I can do an EMU. So, there is a class. What is this? It's either a class 401 or a class 402. So I'm going to put that on the track, and we'll come to that in a moment. I'm going to try and keep up with comments. Humanicity, hi to you. Gary Cox, hi to you. I'm well behind on the comments. VK, hi to you. Keith Pointer, the green snot finger. Oh God, I am really out of touch. Leslie Gilpin says, Bolton to Berry line is being considered, isn't it? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think for the Metro link, but to Radcliffe. But it'd be interesting to see what they do. They haven't really thought this through because they've, like, literally in the last couple of years built a huge housing estate from Bradley Fold Junction down the line towards Radcliffe. They got rid of the viaducts in the 1980s, and also they got rid of the bridges in the Bolton end again, I think late 1980s. Ham Shackleton says, reopen the Blenheim to Trasfinon line. The Latchford one can't easily be reopened. The bridge over the canal is rotten. I live 500 yards away. Yeah, although it is an interesting point. Whose responsibility is the bridge? Because originally, I believe the bridges were built at the expense of the canal company to be maintained by the canal company. So you could argue that the onus is on the Manchester Ship Canal Company to repair that bridge. Simon Trains MRS says, yes, it was a Sainsbury's. I walked the Fallowfield Loop line back in February. Right. Just scanning through, making sure that... So, Flymo Chamber 1. Sorry, Ham Shackleton. I was laughing at the lady fuel and green hand comment. Good crack, as they say in Dublin, apparently. Andrew Davis already mentioned Stonehenge. Stonehenge is a fine Wiltshire monument. It certainly is. Russell Benton, that is exactly how I work in restaurants. On wine, I always pick the second cheapest one, so folks don't think I'm a cheapskate. That is the correct answer, funnily enough. Right, I'm gonna... Whoa. Gosh, that's very, very... you've all been very busy, actually. D827 Kelly, looking like the camera refresh or frames per second is too low for the stream settings. Oh, Human City Junction. Jennifer Kirk, what is the best small YouTube channel that you recently found that everyone should know about and subscribe to? We talked about it the other week, actually, and I'm racking my brains to remember which channel it was. Somebody sent a link. Was it Lapping Road? Was it Lapping Road? Or certainly we saw Lapping Road, and there was another one as well. and they only had 5 subscribers, and I think we all wanged them collectively, and they had about 60 subscribers by the end of the stream. And certainly looking at the quality of that model making, it was like, wow, this is great. Trying to think of other ones. You put me on the spot a bit, actually. Peter Phillips says, warning, rocket cable's very fragile. Just had mine back after 5 months after repairs caught up in virus shutdown. Yeah, definitely. And it's one of the things that I did cover in my review of the rocket, was actually that... are we missing a tray? Yes, we are. Why are you stopping down there? There we go. I felt that not having a semi-permanently coupled tender to locomotive, it should be screwed at both ends, like it is on all of their newer tender locos, precisely to protect those wires. And for some unknown reason, Hornby has chosen not to do that on the rocket, and I think that for me is the single biggest issue I have with it. I can forgive everything else, but not that. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because that Q1 keeps stalling out there. So we're going to have 3261. I am going to put the Rails Dapol Terrier. So we've got 3261, loco 3261, enter. And I am going to see if I can speed match those two. And hopefully that'll stop it from stalling out. So we're now double heading with the Terrier that's going round. Right, back to the comments. A big hello to Somerset Andy. How are you doing? Ben Davis. Hi Jennifer Kirk. Do Metcalf are going to... do I know whether Metcalf are going to open up? I think Metcalf has opened back up, because I know they've just done a competition online. So my guess is that Metcalf is back up and running. And certainly don't forget some of those lower traffic model shops. I've seen photos as proof that there is a lot of Metcalf kits still out there for sale. There isn't a supply issue depending on which model shop you go to. Rob Arnold, tip for rocket owners to stop tender from disconnecting a 2mm piece of 16/.02 wire sleeve pushed on the tender's pin is just the job. Actually, that's a really good tip. Nick Gerolamo, shame the Somerset and Dorset can't be put back. The branch to Bridport would have been good too. Certainly. Let's have a look. Oh, sorry, somebody's sending me a message. Just give me a moment. Right, oops, no. Paul Carson, anyone having trouble with Hornby customer services? My e-link broke and no response to my emails for a whole week. I know that some of them are still working from home, so there may be a slight delay. It took about 2 weeks to sort out my TTS decoder, so do persevere. Perhaps send a follow-up message, but certainly I know from experience that they are sorting through the caseload, and once they do get to you, then I don't know what the delay might be, or the reason for the delay, but certainly once they get to you, they will hopefully sort that out. Paul Higgins says large prairie is on its way. Woohoo! Yeah, definitely. I've seen. Is that the 26261XX? For some reason, right, I'm going to have to take the Q1 off because it's now just stalling on. Come on, get off. Stupid locomotive. Stupid boy. Right. Let's see. Will the Terrier actually pull? Actually, it does actually. The Rails Dapol Terrier, another plus point, it does seem to have some pretty good pulling power. So I've taken the Q1 off quite simply because it started to misbehave itself. So anybody who says later on, I'll put a Q1 on, tough, I've already had it on, and it misbehaved itself. So I'll sort that out in a bit. Let's see how well that Terrier does. on its own. Right. 57305 Northern Princess. I'd reopen the Great Central London extension, then return the Metropolitan line to Aylesbury. Yeah, actually, the Great Central Main Line, really, it's one that shouldn't probably have ever been shut. Not least because now it would have been really great. You could have had TGVs running all the way from France to Manchester. That would have been actually pretty good. I think with the Channel Tunnel opening, the Great Central Main Line would have been an essential asset. How are you doing? Oh, I see you have chocolate.
Yeah, but you said you didn't want anything.
Yeah, that's fine. You get fat then.
Okay.
Right.
I will. You watch me.
Right. Just give me a moment.
Ow.
Starkiller 100 says, do you know if 5 have any plans for another series of the show? That, I believe, is reference to Great Model Railway Challenge on Channel 5 in the UK. It has been syndicated around the world in various places. Currently, I know Sweden is working its way through Series 2, and they did do Series 1. I did speak to Pat Doyle probably about a month ago, and effectively everything, oh, thank you very much, everything is kind of on hold because of COVID. But
This
I
virus
don't know.
has caused so many problems.
It has, but there was also thoughts that they were going to take a year out this year anyway. So I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. I know that there are talks going on, so never say never. It may yet reappear.
The show's having a gap year so it can travel the world and find itself.
Well, it's not the first show to have done that.
No, it's not. Many shows do.
Didn't Robot Wars have a year off at some point?
No, it just got cancelled.
No, but then did it get brought back on another channel?
No.
I'm sure
It jumped from BBC to Channel 5 and then got cancelled because no one watched it.
There is that. Right. AMAC says Cheshire Lines was the channel. Yes, you're absolutely right. That was the channel that we looked at last week, and that was a really stellar.
Is that the one that we said you got your chance to get in the ground floor of it? Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, Cheshire Lion says, that was me with 5 subs, now 69. Can't quite believe it. Thanks, everyone. You're absolutely welcome. And as I
It's
said
well
last
deserved.
as I said last week, that is an amazing model railway, and I do look forward to seeing more of that because it does look amazing. Grandad Choo Choo was talking of opening the Partington to Earlham line. Yeah, there's somebody actually planning to try and reopen that. So it'd be interesting. It would be interesting to see what actually happens with that. Now I'm going to pork my face with chocolate.
Nom 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 nom. Chocolate that she said she didn't want. Can I just point that out to everyone?
You can point it out, but nobody will listen.
Wow, that was a weird. We really need to reinforce some of these things because it's creaking like mad.
That's just the floorboards.
Yeah, that's the bit I need you to reinforce.
I can screw it down. Right, Skip. Live enter a pain in the assets. Not sure what that's referring to. Rule 1 Model Railway says it'll go up quick. 2 months ago I had 20 subs, now I have 313.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's actually quite a good increase. I think over the last 4 weeks, I've gained... How many have I gained?
I don't know.
The last 4 weeks I've gained about 300. I think YouTube's on a go slow at the moment, but saying that, Ollie at Wardle Road, I think he's gained nearly 1,000 in the same period, so he's doing exceptionally well. Andy 1962, extend Borders Railway from Tweedbank to Carlisle. Should never have been closed under Beeching. Big mistake, as was closing Loiker's line to St Andrews. Not sure how to pronounce that, I have to say. But yeah, there was an attempt to save it, but I think BR was just determined to close it. They staged a track severing ceremony, literally within hours, I think it was, the last train passing, as a statement that, nope, we're closing it. And I think they asked for an awful lot of money by an organisation that wanted to try and buy it, and they were talking about importing steam locomotives from abroad to run on it. That
just seems vindictive on behalf
there was
of BR.
a lot of, I think the trouble with BR was it's basically civil service, and there was a mentality that they didn't want to be proven wrong. So by destroying the infrastructure, it prevented anybody from putting it back, and thereby proving that actually there was a case for it. In some respects, it's one of the other reasons why Bella Viaduct was demolished within a matter of a couple of years of the line closing, even though it underwent a full maintenance schedule only a few years before the line closed. So actually it was in great condition. You know, it's a lot of the time some of these things happen that, you know, they go out of their way to stop people from proving them wrong. The Class 76s, I know that the Dutch railway company that bought the Class 77s actually wanted to buy the Class 76 fleet for further use out in Holland, and British Rail didn't want their excuse to withdraw the fleet of Class 76s, which was they were life expired, there wasn't enough traffic to justify a replacement on the route, so we're going to withdraw them all and then close the route. If they'd have sold the locomotives on to the Dutch state railways, it would have been like basically saying that they lied. So they actually scrapped the fleet rather than selling them on as working locomotives, even though most of those locomotives were in fully working condition at the time.
Ridiculous.
Max says, my local preserved line opened this week. Everyone take a trip and support them. Definitely. A lot of these preserved lines are now starting to open back up, and they need your support now more than ever. Why has...
What's up?
Yeah, sorry, it's just, let me send a banking locomotive round. I think that... I'm having a bit of issues, actually. Now, this is a -1 point for the Rails Dapol Terrier. And it is that it has just stopped around the other side. So I am sending an X-Allen Y pug round. So if I go to that camera, we can see, you'll see it's just stopped there. So I'm sending a pug round. Oops, no. What, I pressed the wrong button there. 5122. Give it a bit more beans. That'll bang into the back of the train and hopefully get things moving again. Right. Right. Oh god, I'm well behind now. Tim's Train says, Jenny, PS on the way tomorrow. Oh, definitely. Yes, of course. I need to mention Tim's Train's incredibly generous has actually sent 2 more locomotives. Is that now? Yes, we're up and running again. So the plucky little pug has got that train moving again. So I'm just going to make sure, can we get these vaguely speed matched? There we go, that's probably about speed matched. But yes, Tim's Trains, very generously, he did donate me 3 locomotives. I couldn't believe it. It was incredibly generous. But he's sending 2 more locomotives to the channel for review and such like, and it's just amazingly generous of him. Richard Swiderski says, what about the Diet Girls? What about it? Keith Boynton up, O-Gauge, I got 2 gauges, OO and O-Gauge. Martin Top, ooh, what's going on there? We're getting a few issues actually with the Rails Dapol Terrier stalling out and things, so I think there's +1 to the Hornby on this this now, so I don't know if anybody's keeping count. Tim Condrip says, one of your locos is stopping the track, I think. It shows how far behind I am on the comments. Stuart Muir, hi Jenny, the Buxton to Matlock via Bakewell and Monsaldale is being considered for reopening if Grant Shapps and Boris Johnson have their way. It's been considered for reopening on and off since the 70s. It'll be interesting to see if that comes to fruition. There's also the Colne to Harrogate line as well as another one that's always quoted. AD Pullen says, last 4 weeks I've gained about 75 subs. Yeah, AMAX says, BR were very vindictive. The mid-Hants could only afford to purchase 3 miles of track and trackbed. BR ripped up the remaining 7 miles rather than leasing, forcing a total rebuild and preservation. And they actually did something similar to the Great Central. Initially they were fairly helpful, and then about-faced and demanded hideous amounts of money to retain the track, claiming that the track they wanted for use elsewhere, but in the end actually just cut it up into short 3-foot lengths and scrapped it. So they vindictively destroyed it.
They might have wanted it for use in a scrap heap.
No,
as some kind of art display.
They claim that the track was too good to not reuse, therefore they wanted to charge like a commercial rate for it, but actually they just scrapped it. They also, they destroyed the bridge over the Midland Main Line, things like that. D827 Kelly says, most lines being considered for reopening will never likely go ahead when they realise just how costly most of them will actually be. A lot of that cost is, unfortunately, railway reopening seems to be a bit of a gravy train for certain companies. It shouldn't cost that much, but for whatever reason, the costs get massively inflated. I think that's something that does have to change. Otherwise, as a country, we're going to just become mired in bottlenecks. D827 Kelly says, likely corporate mentality rather than vindictive. Leslie Gilpin says this is actually true as well. When BR withdrew steam, the contract with each scrapyard was that the locos could not be returned to running order. Several locos with potential buyers were scrapped as a result. I think they actually stipulated that a premium had to be paid to them if the locomotives were subsequently sold on and not scrapped. And the premium was quite restrictive. Keith Pointer says, maybe, Jenny, your track needs a good clean. I have actually cleaned it. But I probably do need to investigate a couple of spots. Ben Tullett says, I'm still waiting for the Severn Valley Railway to let me know when I can go back to volunteer at the carriage department at Bewdley. AMAC says, I was one of the poor sods relaying the track, so I have a biased opinion. I can imagine. And it is very mean-spirited of them to have just ripped up the track, because that will have cost them money to do, and that wouldn't have entirely been offset by the scrap value of the material. So some of it does seem a little bit vindictive, especially when they knew that somebody wanted it. Simon's Trains MRS says, I was waiting for derailment on the pug and the brake van. Oh, that's a bit mean, isn't it? But also, don't forget to tickle that like button and share the stream. Let other people know that we're on and up and running. And everybody is welcome. We've got 236 people in at the moment. And it's been a very warm day. I suspect a lot of people are probably sort of siestaing because it's been very, very hot. Andy 1962 says, Sound and Firebox glowing rocket. The guy's channel's Eric French, if I remember correctly. Think he's a train driver. Anyway, his rocket is well worth a look. I did see that on YouTube. Kudos to him. He's got a sound-fitted Hornby rocket. And I believe it's got a stay alive as well. And
stay alive.
But there is some modification to be able to accommodate that. So if you look closely, you can see that the actual water barrel is a bit higher, and the rendition of the coke load is angled instead of flat. But certainly that is actually quite an impressive adaptation. Right. Otis JB says, hi Jenny, can we see your new scene, please? Okay,
new scene?
Yeah, I gave everybody a blast of this last week. But I will show people. There is the new scene. So we were making a scene with Scenecraft, and as you can see, there it is, and the static grass going on at the back here. I was quite pleased with that, done with the Warworld Scenic Static Grass Applicator. We've got the ruts on the road. Again, I think I talked through how I did that by rolling a vehicle through just before the glue had dried fully. But all in all, it's created quite a nice little scene there. And of course, the reason it's there is because these needed hiding. But whilst I've got the roaming camera out, don't forget as well that today we are sponsored by All Mouse Media. And so we're seeing some of the books here. Don't forget that if you ordered the Twinkle Little Star and the Bringing Home the Stars, then if you put a comment, Jenny sent me, we will make sure that they get personally autographed before they get sent out. Although, and
if you order them while the live stream's on, you might even see us do a little doodle into the thing.
Has anybody actually ordered them yet?
I couldn't possibly say.
That would be a no then. Come on.
Hey, they're allowed to not.
I know you don't have to. But
it helps us out because we've got a lot of these to shift.
Yeah, there is that. Consider it the Jenny wants the underside of the bed in the back bedroom back appeal. But there we go. We've also got the comic books all over the house, books 1 and 2. Can't get them signed. Turns out they're coming from a warehouse elsewhere. So
actually, 1, 2, 3, and The Life of Nobody Mouse.
Oh, we got number 3 as well.
They're all on the site, all ready to go. And you can order all of them, and all of them are stored in the warehouse.
They are all right. Flymo Chairman 1 says, I believe mining subsidence affected the St Andrew line closure too. Yeah, the Selby line as well. They actually built the Selby avoiding line, and the old line down from York to Selby was closed because of mining subsidence. D827 Kelly says surveys, environmental studies, etc. all dramatically add to the costs, as well as the planning laws meaning local consultation has to occur, all steps that require costs. It does feel, though, like some of it is a bit of a gravy train. What do they call it? The Great Crested Newt tax.
To be honest with you, speaking as someone who used to be on a planning committee as a councillor, Great Crested Newts almost never saved anything. It was very annoying. So many things I wanted to save and I wasn't
added lots of cost. Jonesy Tynan Weir Transport. Hi Jenny, how's you? I'm pretty good, thank you. Have you ever been to Stevenson's Railway in North Tyneside? I am aware of its existence, but no, I haven't ever been there. I believe it was originally a colliery line, which was later on used as a test track for testing out the principle of the Tyne & Wear Metro before the Tyne & Wear Metro was all built, and then passed on to become a preserved line. Tim Condrup asks, please can you run your favourite pannier tank? I love a pannier tank. I'm going to try not to mess around actually at the moment with the trains, because otherwise I miss even more of the comments. Eric French says, "'Tis indeed my channel with the sound lights fitted rocket and Smoky Joe. You are thinking of another sound fitted rocket. However, this one has the coal and barrel in the standard position." Oh wow, that is, sir, I doff my invisible cap to you, because that is actually some really quality model engineering if you manage to do that. Flymo Chairman 1 has posted a link for Warworld Scenics with static grass applicators. Thank you very much for that. Don't forget to... yeah, I do actually. I'm a big fan of the Warworld Scenic stuff and the static grass.
Jenny would put static grass on a toaster if I let her.
I would. But don't forget to mention that you heard about them from me if you do go and get one.
Tell them Jenny sent you.
Yeah, tell them Jenny sent you. David Scott, biggest cost in reopening lines, building new lines, is taken up in court costs and time delays. Only the barristers make money at taxpayers' expense. Rant over. There's some degree of that. There's also consultants. I despise some of these people. Basically, they fart about
rant
for 3
time
years
from Jenny
to produce a report that doesn't actually say anything much. But are motorways and dual carriageways and new roads actually blighted by the same cost escalations? or do they somehow have some kind of a special status? I've never seen any of this hold up a road scheme, I'll be honest with you. There does seem to be a bias towards reinstating, a bias against reinstating railways.
Tell that to West Horton, where I used to represent, where it took 30 years to get a bypass. They just wouldn't put it in.
You see, your problem was you weren't in London.
That's true.
Somerset Andy says, been subscribing to lots of everyone in the chat. Oh, brilliant. There is a lot of actually some really great YouTube channels out there, I must admit, and it's been a pleasure and an honour to be able to showcase some of the other channels that people have posted links to. What do you want covered,
Speaking
Monkey?
of great YouTube channels, we have a second channel, don't we? All Mouse Media channel, where
Tell
we've
the
been
lucky listeners all about
where
it.
we've been reviewing classic episodes of Doctor Who and also classic films, and you're going to be showing up on it at some point with your music reviews, because we're bringing back the vinyl albums, and we're taking them off. We're not going to remove them from the Jenny's channel where they are now. We're just going to continue the series on the new channel. So that'll be nice for people who also like music as well as trains. So you can have your choo-choos and also have your reviews, and it rhymes because that's the kind of thing we do here. Is that enough time?
It's the caramel sticks your mouth together.
In that case, eat more. You might shut up a minute.
I'm going to save that for later on, actually, because you can have too much.
You can have too much of a good thing.
Today's beverage of choice is Southern Comfort.
For comforting your southerns.
Yeah, so this is the point where things things are going to get some real.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Southern Comfort.
Yeah.
I used to drink so much of that.
Yeah, hold on tight, because Kansas, it go bye-bye.
Back when I was at
the
university, there was a New Year's party I went to, and I think you might have been there, but it might have been the year after you'd left, where I thought everyone else was helping me drink this bottle of Southern Comfort I brought, but it turns out they weren't.
They were just taking bets as to when she'd fall over.
Yes, I drank an entire bottle of Southern Comfort in one night,
That
and
would make you ill.
I was ill for a week.
Hmm.
So
Right.
a few people that I thought had been helping me out, I didn't speak to again after that.
Anyway, importantly, Somerset Andy says, your books, Jenny and Zoe, are awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Somerset Andy. That is really good of you. And of course, there you go. We have a buyer recommendation.
Oh, that is
on the
lovely.
book.
If you'd like to see some of the things that are in these books, by the way, there's selections from both Twinkle Little Star and Bringing Home the Stars on the Almost Media website, so you can see what you're getting into.
Anyway, big hello to Crossways Point Junction. Very good evening to you, Jennifer. Thank you very much. I hope you find you well as well. Hello, Ian White and Merthyr Central 88D. Don't worry, you're never late to the Monday Club. The Monday Club, we're pretty easy. Come and go as you please. And also remember that you can also pick up where you left off. You can also rewatch any bits that you want to see again. And also, what's wrong?
So that's Somerset Andy saying something about Speedball 2 and Kickoff 2 on the Amiga.
I don't know.
Oh, I loved Speedball 2 on the Amiga.
Vaguely remember it.
Oh, it was so good.
Ben Tullett says, oh dear, an unhappy troll has disliked.
Oh.
Well, it's a badge of honour, to be honest, that I'm living rent-free in someone's
Also,
head.
for anyone who does get dislike bombed by these trolls, because we know there is a group of them, we won't mention names, but one of them definitely isn't from Pink Floyd. We know that they go around in groups and they dislike bomb people's videos. So if you're in one of their targets and you find a lot of your videos get a lot of dislikes, just remember that Google just counts that as an interaction and actually benefits your channel.
Matt Ovell says, books purchased. Couldn't leave a message, though. Doesn't matter. Looking forward to reading them.
I am so sorry about that.
Which book? I think you can only leave a message when you buy Twinkle Little Star and Bringing Home the Star.
Maybe, yeah. Yes, because the other ones from the warehouse, we won't get that.
If you bought the comic collections, which look a lot like these, so
all our use, as my mum would say.
We can't do any signings on those because they come from a different warehouse.
Yeah,
but,
Amazon's dealing with them.
we are able to intercept any of these books and these books. If you want them personally signed, we are able to intercept and do that.
Oh, thank you so much.
But yes, thank you very much, and don't forget, if you like the book, recommend it to everybody you can, and if you don't like the book, keep it to yourself.
If you don't like the book, recommend it to everyone that you don't like.
Yeah. I like transport. It seems it's time to cue the like button. Everyone smash the like, and if you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to ring the bell too. Very much, and also share the stream. Let other people know about the Monday Club and all the fun, the hanging out, the like-minded people. It is great, is it not? Meriden Parkway, Southern Comfort always gets messy. Oh, it is nice. And Ewan's Trains and Buses.
So nice.
It does actually. Ewan's Trains and Buses says Southern Comfort is definitely my drink.
It's my dad's drink of choice as well. Oof. What's set off? Have you broken something?
I hope that we haven't just lost the magic smoke from something.
Are you breaking your choo-choos?
No,
Have you just got a point that isn't quite clean?
I'm not sure. I suddenly got very, very worried that the magic smoke was coming out of something, but we seem all right. But I'm going to clean some of this track over. Oh, actually, it is quite dirty.
So I was right.
Shh. You're not allowed to be right.
My wild stab in the dark about the consequences. It's correct.
Yes, yeah, whatever. Oh,
See, this is what happens when you model railway drunk.
I'm not drunk.
Yet.
I'm just...
You've seen alcohol. You're drunk.
No, that's not true. Ronald Mark says, liking the tanker train trundling around. It's quite nice, actually. It's a Hornby Class 31, but it's an assortment of tanker wagons from Bachmann, actually. Some of them...
It's on the same point, isn't it?
That is interesting. What? Right, this is interesting. Something is not happy. Huh. So...
Do you need me to move everything?
Not
Tell
necessarily.
you what, I'm going to close down the laptop because I'm only using it to browse the web while we're chatting.
I am worried that magic smoke has decided to come out of something.
Ah. And everyone at home is now treated to the wonders of the ass cam.
What? No. So, I've moved everything.
Except this one over here.
Right, we have had a decoder pop, it would seem. This is quite irritating, as I'm sure if it's ever happened to you, it's like, well...
This is happening a lot lately.
Yeah.
We've got to wonder, is there something wrong? Fundamentally wrong on the layout itself?
I don't know, right.
Have you overloaded something?
Shouldn't do. The Class 31 is off. It's not the Class 31.
Oh, it's not one of the Terriers, is it?
Hoping it's not this little bad girl. That's warm. Doesn't smell like magic smoke. Ooh.
Oh dear. Isn't that one of your favourites?
It is, yes.
Oh my goodness.
So, in a very strange move. So, we've had a locomotive strangely pop. So that is really irritating. I think it's heat related, but I'm not sure.
It is. It does seem warm, you said.
Not massively warm, but it doesn't smell like magic smoke.
Wow, he's warm.
Is he?
Feel his feet.
Nah, no more so than you might expect. So, let's just... Yeah, we've got a bit of warmth going on here.
It does look a little like there wouldn't be enough space to dissipate heat.
I'm going to let it cool down, see what happens.
Stick it in your drink, it'll see what happens.
No, I'm going to let it cool down. So we've had a little bit of a decoder popping issue, which is very annoying.
You know, I think the next upgrade to this layout should be more fans.
I do think that air conditioning might be a good thing.
Yeah. We seem to be having more and more pop, and it always seems to be heat related.
I don't think it's heat related. Right, I'm going to scroll bang up to date. James Pett says, what decoder is in that locomotive? It is, excuse me, it is actually a Trainomatic 8-pin with a smart power pack. So, it won't be the
So
smart...
this is one that you've had to solder.
It's one I've had to hard solder. But I'm hoping that once it cools down, everything's grand.
Well, we'll see.
But,
Sit it in front of the fan for a bit.
just give me a moment. Give me a moment.
It's alright, I'll fill the air.
Yeah, you fill the air whilst I sort this out.
I had some great jokes, but all of them are dirty, so I can't say them on the show.
I'll clean them up a bit.
Ooh, squeaky clean now.
I'm just looking to see if there's any sign of popping.
Oh, excuse me.
Any sign of a popping.
It doesn't look like it's popped. I see a few marks here and there. Oh dear. See, this is what happens when you run them all the time. I do wonder, some of these live streams where you're just running trains constantly, maybe we should change them more often.
I must admit, right, there's certain decoders seem to have big issues with that. Right, what I'm going to do...
I've also got to wonder the amount of wiring that's in there.
Yeah.
Whether there's always a chance that there's a short.
Right, what I'm going to do is grab a wagon, and I want to put all of that into the wagon, and...
Nope. Whatever you were thinking would happen, didn't.
So,
let it cool down. Let it cool down. See what happens then.
Yeah, that is it.
I think you've had one of every single type of decoder pop now, haven't you?
I seem to have a lot of issues with decoders specifically that are wired to stay alives, and
I think it's a heat issue. It's hot up here. I'm starting to sweat. You're starting to sweat, and capacitors have a tendency to overheat.
I really don't know what to make of this. You know?
Now, well, I'm going to take the laptop out of here before that pops, and I'll be back.
So I'll see what people are saying. Watching a bit of Withnell and I again, says Somerset Andy. A great movie, everyone. Yeah,
I love it, especially the fishing scene.
I do think that Withnell in Lancashire should be, as a matter of principle, twinned with I in Suffolk. Withnell and I.
Oh,
it's such an obvious one to do.
Yes, to every single nerd and student.
Yeah, it like puts both of those places on the map.
They're on the map anyway, that's how you know where to get to them.
Yes, but more on the map.
More on, yes.
Malcolm Phillips says, backlog of trains soon if this is fault. Is this more than normal? Because the reason I say this is because I have now had 5, 6, 7... This is decoder number 8 that I have had pop up here over the last year. Is 8 decoders a lot to have pop randomly? Is it? It seems to me to be. And one of them has been a TTS sound chip, but all the others have been Trainomatic. Now, that's not to say anything bad about Trainomatic. I do actually have a disproportionate number of Trainomatic decoders, because they sponsor the channel, they send me a lot to do all of the locomotive wiring. Ben Tullett says, your issues are affecting my Wi-Fi. It just cut out again. J94 says, my locos have a flux capacitor. Derail says, I heard something pop. I think it was Zoe. Yeah, very much. Andy1962 says, might be worth trying to reset the loco's chip. That's a good point, actually. So let's try and do that. So what I need to do is, let me just put that somewhere that it's not going to pick up any interference. So we're CV8, I'm guessing, program main, read, program track, enter, CV8, data 8, and there we go. Right, okay, so I'm now going to read on the program track the address. Should come up as 5122. Actually, if I reset everything, it should come up as 3. What's actually happening is it is not reading it. So it's trying to read it, and let's just have a look at the diagnostic night. No, we have a popped chip, it seems. That is very disappointing, it has to be said. There is no apparent shorts. So hold on, let's try one more thing. Read address. CV. Does anybody remember which CV you read to get a readout of whether if it logs what's gone wrong? So shift. CV2. Let's just see what CV2 reads as. No, it's not reading it. What it's suggesting is that we just got a dead short. That's disappointing because it tripped out the layout over there. Was it? No, it wasn't over there. It was over there. But what was interesting was that it kept going on the smart power pack. Very strange, very, very strange. I can only think there's some kind of a heat issue. Will it recover when it cools down? Let's put it in front of the fan for a bit. But it's not desperately warm anymore. Not desperately warm. There's no signs of heat damage. I just don't see any overheated component, it has to be said. So let's just see, when I put it on the track, currently reading 0.15 of an amp. It's like instant short. Even if you just touch, we get an instant short. So that is deeply, deeply disappointing. I can only assume that it's an overheat issue, but they're supposed to have a thermal cutout, so I really don't know what to make of that. SJ Carter, when the chips have blown, if they've been on the same line or different lines, all over the place, to be honest with you, and it's not a specific location, in all honesty with you. David Baker says CV8 is reset. Andy1962 says, I'd say 8 times decoders in a year is a lot. I've had 2 TTS decoders blow in the last 6 months. That's expensive enough, but 8 times decoders I couldn't afford. Ouch. Kelly Ashford, big hello to you. Christopher Madden says, loving watching the trains going around, Jenny, whilst I'm working on my layout. Oh, thank you very much. Ham Shackleton says it's just a resistor and a capacitor in series across the bus. Was that in reference to a spike suppressor on the bus? Is that something you can just buy? I would have thought that I've got the DCC Concepts Alpha, or is it Cobalt, the 8 amp booster. Would that not have that built into it, so to speak? I don't knowingly have a spike suppressor, but I think maybe that is something that I need to investigate. Tim's Train says, I reckon it's the brand, unfortunately. Probably cheap components on the chips. Interesting. Mark Wilson says, 8 is a lot. Is it your wiring? No, it's interesting. Andy 1962, I've tried resetting the Locos chip, but no joy. Wiven Model Railway, hi to you. James Pett says, also try disconnecting the Stay Alive from the decoder to test it. David Baker says, try running at a lower voltage. Try 15 volts instead of 18 volts. That should cool the regulator circuitry. How would I do that with the DCC Concepts power supply? It just pumps out 18 volts. I'm not sure how to change that. Andy 1962. Oh no, sorry, I've already read that. I'm just looking down. Yeah, J94. The blowing the DCC chip gremlin is back, definitely. Leslie Gilpin says you shouldn't rely on the DCC controller cutout. It's a last resort cutout. Yeah, I'm going to have to... What I'm going to do is I'm going to contact DCC Concepts and just have a chat with them, I think. Timbersurf, DCC now sells snubbers. DCC Concepts snubbers. I presume that is the protection. I'm going to have to investigate that. David Baker, DCC Concepts do a bus terminator spike suppressor kit. Mark Wilson, maybe you need to get a Stay Alive for your Stay Alive. Tim Condrup asks, who are the two people on the front cover of the book? The two people on the front cover of the book are the two main characters in the book. So that's... I'm trying to remember. It's Tesrin Stepford Brown and Emily... What was her name? I don't remember her name. Emily... I can't remember her surname. She's called Emily. The characters on the other book, if you're interested, is Tesrin, Emily, Mr. Drope, and James. So they're the some of the other characters on there, doing that kind of the obligatory Beatles Abbey Road crossing pose. Right. Let's see what's Kelly Ashford. I usually donate, but can't this week. Going to stand did no tomorrow and can't be sure to catch. Look, I never ever feel obliged to donate. Look, don't worry about it. Andy 1962, Jenny, of the trains that you have had blown chips in, did they all run okay again with new chips? Did you fit same replacement chip or a different brand? A bit of both, to be honest with you. Although all of the trains ran fine, I've never had a faulty locomotive. But what I have found is that some of them have received the same chip, some of them have received a different chip, and only one locomotive has blown chips twice, which is why that is on the to investigate list. John PW22 says, to stop blowouts, the Americans often use a car light bulb, which draws the current of if a short happens. Otherwise, it sits in the circuit without doing anything, but lights up on shorting. So where in the circuit would that sit? Interesting. J94, hey Jenny, does All Over the House have an official Facebook page? If so, I gave that page a like. Yes, I believe it does. Flymo Chairman 1, absolutely right. Treat yourself, Kelly, and have fun at Llandudno. Very much, actually. Llandudno is really nice. Go up Orm's Head. Take the cable car up there, and it's one of those ones like in San Francisco with the cable in the conduit under the road. And certainly a lovely, lovely place. Ben Tullett says, can I donate my useless Wi-Fi router to you, Jenny? You're all right, thanks. I've got a box of old Wi-Fi routers. Timber Surf says, bus suppressors, stroke terminators, 2-pack of BT2. I'm going to have to actually contact DCC Concepts and see what they recommend. James Pets, I have to say I use Zemo chips and have not had one blow spontaneously. They have only blown when I have mis-soldered them. Christopher Madden says, Jenny, what would you say is your favourite A4 Pacific? Silver King, number 60016. But I only have it in Hornby 003 rail form. I would love Hornby to do a super detailed version of Silver King in the BR green with early crest, because that would match up with that childhood Hornby 00 model. I really do wish that they would do that. But sadly, it's one of the models which they have just never really quite got round to doing. I must say, I'm really disappointed with this. Has gone back to completely cold. So I'm going to try. Watch the voltage. It's spiked up to 92, or 0.92 of an amp, and then cut straight out. For some reason, the chip has gone dead short. Is anybody know what would cause the decoder to go to a dead short? And is there any way of fixing that issue? That is a huge disappointment. Really is in that locomotive.
You haven't had another one, go, have you?
No, it's gone cold, but it's basically pulling a dead short on the layout, so the chips blow.
There's got to be someone in the comments was mentioning. Do you have a electrical spike shield or whatever?
We're going to talk about that, but it's interesting actually. James Pett says dead short would be a faulty component, e.g. a diode or PIC. David Baker, Jenny, is it only since you fitted the DCC Concepts alpha supply, or did any blow before it was fitted? It's interesting you say that, because I never had a decoder blow before I fitted the DCC Concepts alpha power supply. Now, I don't for 1 minute believe that is related, but it's...
Oh.
Could it be a faulty power supply?
No, I'm thinking someone else mentioned drop down from 18 volts to 15.
How do we do that?
I'm not entirely sure, but when someone mentioned the power supply, the DCC Concepts, you got it because it lets you run more.
Yeah, essentially the
power.
problem, when I ran direct from the Gauge Master, I was getting faults simply because the amount of stuff on the layout was overpowering the Gauge Master controller. I'm gonna...
Do you want some Coke? Oh, you've got comfort.
I'm good.
You're still comforting your southerns.
Yeah.
I really shouldn't kneel on this floor. It's killing my knee. What's just stopped?
Oh, I don't know. Why is everything stopped?
Well, not everything.
Recall.
That one stopped.
I don't know why, but it's... yeah, I don't know why that stopped.
Your little one down there stopped.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of issues with that. So, you hold on a moment. Let me stop that. I'm having a lot of issues with the Rails Dapol Terrier. It keeps stopping in the same place. But, yeah, David Baker. Jenny, is it only since you did the DCC Concepts Alpha supply? Yes. James Pets, unless you've soldered it internally and there's a wire touching something somewhere. I've just checked it. There's no issue with the wiring. Keith Pointer, the track may have a short out. No, because otherwise everything would just stop running. Keep calm and make stuff. From my experience, if a decoder blows, it goes open circuit. Yeah, Lee Holden. Good evening, Jennifer. I'm kind of glad that I am DC only. Service all my locomotives myself and have them all running just how I like them. Understand your disappointment. Definitely. It's yeah. Timber Surf says spike of high voltage will fuse silicon devices to a short. That does explain it, actually. James Petts explains PIC is the logic chip. Ham Shackleton says decoder dead short. It must be one of the rectifier diodes gone pop. Interesting. I take it there's no way of sorting that. James Pett says some components don't like higher track voltages. Yeah, I do wonder. Mark Wilson says just sent £5 through PayPal for your Class 40 fund. Thank you ever so much. That's amazingly generous. In fact, I should check and see if anybody else has donated. So let me just.
Whoa.
What?
Okay, Matt Tavel, we do have your order.
Right.
On the stars. And Susan Boyland as well.
So we have 2 orders. What have they ordered?
Bringing Home the Stars. Yeah.
So have they asked for them to be signed?
There are no dispatch details or notes.
Right.
I was sure you could send that, but yeah.
Mark Wilson, thank you ever so much. We have had your PayPal.me donation through. Thank you ever so much. That is amazingly generous of you.
I need you to sign a Bringing Home the Stars and a Twinkle Little Star to Matt Tavel. So, are you going to do that now?
How's that spelled? And do we have a pen? Pen.
You've got everything up here, but no pens.
There's probably a pen. Oh, I can find a pencil.
Do you want me to go and get you a pen?
Nope, found a pen.
Do you need a pen, Jen?
I have got a pen.
Okay.
I've even got one.
Yes, you've got one that works on wood. Well done.
So, are both of these going to the same person?
These are to Matt Tavel.
Right. I'll make sure I spell your name right. So, Matt Tavel, so
So what are you going to put in there? Many thanks from...
There we are, that's the first one. And this is, you may think, she's checking an awful lot that she doesn't misspell it. Ask me how I know what happens when you misspell things. People get annoyed when you misspell their name.
Yes, we've still got books, haven't we?
Got a book from a book sign. Actually, I think I gave it away to somebody. I gave it to some newspaper guy for a review. And I said, oh, ignore the signature in the front. I misspelt somebody's name. I have misspelt somebody's name. I think it was called Jeff. So I put Jeff, and he went, thank you, but it's Jeff with a J. And it's like, oh, well, thank you very much for letting me know that before I signed it. So, Matt... You get to see how rubbish my handwriting is.
Jenny's handwriting is, well, let's put it this way. I think it looks like some kind of experiment in early forms of writing. I need you to write another one, Bringing Home the Stars, to Susan Boyland.
Right, how is this spelled? So, a big thank you to you guys who've taken advantage of the links from today's sponsor, All Mouse Media, and don't forget that you two still got plenty of time to pick up your copies of these books.
Yeah.
And also you can get the comic collections as well, but we can't sign those because they come from a different warehouse.
Which is unfortunate, but you never know. Next time Jen's down at an event, you could get her to scroll something.
Yeah, I might take some books actually with me to Alexandra Palace next year, I'm definitely booked in to do.
I'll get these sent off in the morning.
Yeah. Have we had any others through?
They're the ones so far. So I'm really happy. Thank you so much. You're making our night here.
Yeah, because this now means we've got a little bit more space under the bed. Basically, when all the books got published, we ended up with a couple of books here, a couple of boxes of books here to make use of. Like, so for example, we go to book signings, we'd always take a few extra in the car, because it's really nice when you actually sell out everything that the bookshop has to be able to go and grab a box. And once or twice we actually did use our own stock, and then they kind of sort it out between you and the publisher.
Yeah, that was a good feeling.
That's a good day.
Made us feel like we weren't the the feckless people just taking up time and space.
Right.
If you've ever done a book signing or seen an author at a book signing, you know the expression when they've been sat there for a while.
Yeah. Timbersurf says you now have 5 amps of current to damage. Yeah, actually, yeah. James Pets, if components are near the top of their voltage tolerance, this might make them more likely to fail. Very much so. Lapping Road says, thanks for showing my video last week. You're absolutely welcome. I really did enjoy that video, actually.
Speaking of videos, about 10 minutes time we'll start.
10 minutes time, so 10-minute warning if you want to send through the URL to your YouTube video of your layout.
Yep, send it to Zoe at zoerobinson.com.
Yeah, keep calm and make stuff. Yep, more current, more damage. And Leslie Gilpin also agrees as well. So I think, yeah, where do I put the 3-volt bulb in the circuit? Just out of curiosity. You've got to, David Baker, I would speak to DCC Concepts ASAP. Somerset Andy says, I had a Gauge Master Ruby decoder go down in 2 days.
Oof, that's not good.
Yeah, James Pett says your problem might be higher track voltage combined with DCC decoders that are manufactured to very tight voltage tolerances. Right, so the general consensus is 18 volts is too high. Can anybody tell me how, with the DCC Concepts power booster, how do I lower the voltage it's putting out? Is there a way of programming it to put out less voltage? I'm just curious if anybody can hook me up with some advice on doing that. Yeah, James Pett says, if your problem is a diode failure, you can in theory replace it. Yeah, they are very teeny surface mounted stuff. Tim's Train says, if your DCC Concepts is giving out 8 amps, is your bus cable rated for 8 amps? I'm not sure. Colin White says, Jenny Allen at Dragon Junction has just added DCC Concepts box of tricks and he's had numerous faults thrown up. I'm going to... Interesting. David Baker says, someone on YouTube was showing how Lima wheels shorted out insulflow points and caused spikes, which blew a DCC chips. Interesting. Mark Wilson says, Jenny, are the books written in order? Do they follow on? They do. So
they do, but they don't at the same time.
You can
it's like a James Bond book, isn't it?
You can read them as standalone. It doesn't penalise you for not having read the previous one, but loosely, Bringing Home the Stars is the first book, and Twinkle Little Star is the second book. So if you're going to buy just one book, it's probably best to buy Bringing Home the Stars. But that said, my personal favourite is Twinkle Little Star.
When are you writing the third one? I've been asking for 10 years.
Yeah, you have actually. So, yeah.
I have to wait another 10. I might not be here.
Canadian rail fan, hello from the basement, taking down the model railway. How come? Yeah, Ham Shackleton says the bus wire would only be affected if there were enough locos drawing all that power, and if there were, the wire would melt. The most ampage that I've ever seen drawn is 1.3 amps, to be honest.
Not 1.21 gigawatts.
No. J94 says, Jenny, I recently named my layout. That's always actually a big step, and giving your layout a name. And sometimes it can be quite tricky to decide on a name. So it's always a great moment when you've decided on a name and stick with that.
It took you a while to decide on all the names for yours, didn't it? Maybe we should have a discussion of that on another Monday Club.
Langton Road says NCE power cab setup. I've blown one chip. Intermittent problems I get is with on electrofrog points with GM DCC 80 auto frogs connected. Amp spiked to 1.2 and the auto frog doesn't throw. Odd random though. Interesting. Mike and Sue Pudham Junction says thank you. Look forward to having a read. Brilliant. Ham Shackleton says my handwriting looks like a trail left by a drunken spider, which is why I use a typewriter.
Jenny's the same. That's in fact how you got into writing on computers, isn't it?
That Leslie Gilpin, that is actually an interesting one. Good point, guys. Is there a wagon causing a short on points, causing a spike to blow decoder? Interesting. Crossways Point Junction says, how do we get your book, Jenny? I've been away, sorry. There is a link in the description box that you can follow. And if you order during the stream, either Bringing Home the Stars or Twinkle Little Star, then we can get that signed for you. However, there are other books, such as these comic collections.
Which unfortunately we can't sign because they're in Amazon's warehouse.
We can't sign these because they're effectively coming from Amazon's warehouse, so we get no control over that. But we can intercept, and as you've seen, sign the other two books. So if you want them signed during the stream, we will do that. Madden Steam Railways, if Jen's writing is not that good, you should see mine. I'm the all-time original Drunken Spider. What should we do with the Drunken Spider?
Sober him up, he's got a problem. Get him some treatment, he needs it.
Interesting. Andy1962 says, Jenny, you need to chat with Alan of Dragon Junction. He identified issues with wheels causing shorts and blowing chips.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, we definitely... Can we get him on the show?
Yeah, I think we can. He sometimes pops in. Wardle Road says 18 volts I think is far too high. The most I've ever had layouts running on is about 14.15 volts. But how do I lower the voltage on the DCC Concepts power booster? That is the issue. How do I do it? Is there a switch? Is there a way of programming it? That is the mystery.
Can you sign this to Susan?
Oh, just the one, is it?
Yeah, so she's already bought the first one. She'd like the second one now because you've told her that it follows on, so she needs to know what happens.
So there we are. Make sure you send the right ones to the right people. Is there another one now?
Yes. Can you sign this one to Stephen Ramsey Stewart?
So what we got?
That's Stephen with a PH.
I'll just put to Stephen. Stephen. It all goes strangely silent as I'm trying very desperately. Inside my head is going, don't draw a penis, don't draw a penis.
Jenny! And that one to Stephen as well.
Oh right, so another one is bought both. Well done, well done.
Yeah, this is amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Wow. Guys, I'll tell you right now, you have made Jenny's evening.
Very much. So we've got...
She's going to be gone scream.
There's two more up here, so any more takers. But I shouldn't tout like that. But I'm going to get on to Richard Brighton at DCC Concepts and ask for a little bit of advice as well. But Timbersurf says a 12-volt bulb at 21 watts will limit short current amps to 1.5 amps. It doesn't blow the bulb, does it? And do you connect it across the wires, so it's sort of it bridges the positive and negative terminals, or do you have it in series with one of the wires? How do we do that?
I'm going to take these downstairs so I can prep them for postage.
Will do. David Baker says on the DCC concept site it says the alpha box is 12 to 18 volts, so it must be adjustable. I'm going to have to look into that. Made on Steam Railway says good night, Jen. See you next week. I will look. You take care.
I'll be back in a moment. Then we're going to have a look at some of the videos that have been sent in. Thank you so much to everyone who sent videos.
Timbersurf says the control box passes through whatever the power pack gives it. So if 18 volt from the PSU, which is not changeable, interesting. Keep calm, make stuff. Don't think voltage is a problem, as NMRA I think can be as high as 22 volts dependent on use. Ham Shackleton, yeah, that's what I want to know. Are you putting your 12 volt bulbs in series or parallel? Austin Allegro, evening Jenny, it's been a while. Hope you and Zoe have been staying safe. Very much so. I hope you are well also. Let's have a look. Timbersurf, the bulb goes in series, only glows when more than 1.5 amps is drawn. So if she's using 3 amps, several districts would need to be created that can only supply 1 amp each. Right. Canadian Rail fan answered the question earlier on. I'm building a new one in the new house, so you're moving house. Right, it's going to be mainline and Heritage Railway. Interesting.
Wow, it's warm up here, guys.
Very much it is. Crossways Point Junction. I sent you a video. I hope you get it, Jennifer. No worries.
I think we did.
David Baker says it might be that the alpha box outputs the same voltage as the input, so try turning down the gauge master output. Only a guess though. So that then begs the question, how do we turn down the gauge master output? Merthyr Central 88D, my Merthyr Central layout is having grids transferred from the map on the board, so I'm accurate with my builds. Can't wait to start scenery. John PW22 says the car bulb is wired in series, would drop the volt slightly too, which might help. Brilliant. I will look into doing that. Kelly Ashford says toot toot chugga chugga snuffy steam train, we'll all go to Carrog and back again. I'm going to ride the whole day long, so this is a day out at the Llangollen Railway, I believe. Keith Pointer says there's a power DCC for the computer to lower the voltage. Yeah, I think we're narrowing it down to possibly a wagon has shorted out on a frog, but for some reason this is the decoder that's popped.
Ribbit.
Right. Mark Wilson asks, would the third book have star in the title? It will, actually.
Alone in the Stars is what we're
Alone
calling
in
it.
the Stars is the working title. Still not finished writing it, but
Still not started writing it.
But Twinkle Little Star doesn't leave on a cliffhanger, and neither does Bringing Home the Stars. Each one is sort of
They're self-contained stories, yeah. Otherwise, I'd have slapped her by now. So, give me my resolution, man. I need it. You know I'm good for it.
Big hello to King Fox Junction, Jerry Wicklow. Why the car bulb in series? It should only light up if there is a short, but will help drop the voltage slightly all the time. I'm going to have to get some 12 volt car bulbs and try this. It does sound to be a really good idea. SJ Carter, DCC Concepts website, Cobalt Alpha Power is a top quality, smoothly filtered and well regulated 5 amp DC power supply that will deliver super smooth 18 volt DC at the input terminals of your DCC system. No mention of being able to lower it. Right, interesting. Oh, no, that is an interesting idea. David Cook, inline 1.5 amp fuse to the bus sorted. Yeah, but what you need is, rather than a fuse, you need those pop-out circuit breakers. Otherwise, you'd be forever changing fuses. A-Max says, never mind the Jenny Class 40 fund, I think you need an aircon one. Kelly Ashford, 2 new videos due to be uploaded on my channel after this. And actually, it's what I suspected. Timber Surf, a fuse is not fast enough to clear a fault before damage done to electronics. Yeah, a fuse will take a momentary spike of many, many amps before it blows. So they're not necessarily the best to protect anything that's delicate. Nick Neumann says, can't see very well, but is that a DMU in the upper left of the screen? Just there, I think. That's actually an EMU. It's either a class 402 or a 401.
Where's the rod hole?
The what?
You said it's an EMU.
Yes. David Baker says, put the bulb in series so it glows brighter. The higher the current, the higher goes the resistance. Win-win. Brilliant. Although Timber Surf says circuit breakers are equivalent to fuses and are not fast enough. Interesting. Mark Wilson says, how's the garden railway? Still covered in leaves, it has to be said. But we will get to that. Right, anyway, it's come to that time of the evening where we're going to show some of your model railways. I'm always really, really pleased to see this. So, what have we got up?
Well, first
Nearly
one...
called you Jenny.
No, you're Jenny.
I'm just going to
The
quickly...
first one is from Tim Condrop. He sent this to me a few days ago. And if I can get YouTube to actually work, that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Have you broken everything again?
Yeah, it's definitely... It is definitely gone pop. So,
Yeah.
that is quite annoying. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off... Let me take off the Stay Alive. Don't do your Bee Gees impression.
I wasn't. I'm just going to go straight to this. So this is Tim Condrop. He's got a Bachman and Hornby collection. I'm not going to show the whole thing because it's 12 minutes. But we're going to have a quick look while you fiddle on and do your thing. They look remarkably close together, like they may have shorted.
No,
So
it's not.
you love this kind of loco, don't you? Is that an A1?
That is an A1. That is actually Tornado.
My goodness, I actually identified a train that wasn't a
Although
Grom.
that one's an A4. That one, I think, is, oh, that's Flying Scotsman. That is it a unrebuilt Battle of Britain class? Then that's a Midland 1F.
Wow, that's a very
half
small
cab.
cab.
14XX GWR auto tank. Behind that we've got a Class 8 shunter.
It's one of the Thomas the Tank Engine ones.
Yeah, and then that one with the face on is a 57XX pannier tank, I'm going to say. And then we've got a Ginty at the end and a Class 37 in the background, I think.
I like the one with the face, it's happy.
You do like the faces. Right, I've removed the Stay Alive.
This is not going to work. Told you.
No, it was not the Stay Alive. Oh, that is a 57XX tank locomotive.
In a very interesting livery.
It's the one from the Railway Children.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the Great Northern and Southern Railway Company, something like that.
Right.
Looks to be a Ginty. Oh yeah, that's 37.
It's a very nice set of...
rail. Is that metal sector or coal sector?
Okay.
Now 464. That's a. Is that Baltic wheel arrangement? Certainly. That looks to be a very interesting build.
Is he building that himself?
That does appear to be. I would say is that scratch built or a kit. I'm not
Wow.
sure. Then that's a 1361 GWR tank loco. 56XX tank behind that, and then behind that is the 34XX GWR City class.
It's a very nice collection he's got here.
Yeah, very much so. Very much. So,
I do like the riveting detail on some of these. It gives them a real sense of not just being flat.
This is actually a really great collection, it has to
Yeah.
be said. So, really quite impressed with this.
Yeah, some good ones. I approve of the Gronk. But I am
Oh, yeah,
impressed
Gronk.
with that one that appears to be scratch built.
484. I think 484 is Baltic, is the wheel arrangement. I'm not sure. Then we've got some Class 25.
It's a good collection. I'm going to move on now because We have a lot to cover, babe.
Ah, Leslie Gilpin says it's a Furnace Railway Baltic tank.
Oh.
Excellent.
It's good to know that someone knows.
So I was correct at it being a Baltic.
Oh, well, you must be happy then, because you love to be right.
Really?
I just didn't. She does love to be right, though. Right, so what else have we got? Let me just show. Yes, it is. Okay, what have we got now? Tim Pullen has sent one in.
Route 7 Railway says, hi Jenny, heading towards 50 subs, any chance of a little plug for my channel? So yes, definitely, Route 7 Railway.
Has he sent a video in? We can watch it.
Not sure, but certainly Route 7 Railway, so do have a check out of that channel.
Oh, we've got a video response to a Monday Club.
Have we?
Yes.
Excellent. Right, we've also got the Spinning Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, re-edit for Monday. Jenny's Monday Club. Oh, I feel.
So this is Shanghai 264359. We know this one.
Yes, we do. Original River Rossi version. So.
Yes. So I'm going to bring it up on the browser and fling, and we get the weird howl around. So here we go. Mark Jenkins mentioned the HO Big Boy in the chat last week, so we've got an actual video response to a Monday Club. This will be fun. Big Boy debut, re-edit for Jenny's Monday Club. Here we go. Oh, got to see this. The original River Rossi version from the mid-70s.
Oh gosh.
I wasn't around then, but you were on the way, weren't you? Whoa, look at the size of that.
We think that's a mid-70s model. That is actually very impressive when you think about the kind of garbage that we were getting in the UK.
That is a chunky monkey. I like the different colours. The silver on the front and the black tube on the back. That is
motor protrude. That was quite common for earlier locomotives, so we don't hold that against it.
I mean, you're not really looking at the back, are you? You're looking at the thing going round. It's enormous. That's a really long thing there.
That is beautiful, and when you think that's a 1970s model, and it still does hold its own.
Yeah, it's still impressive now.
I've just disconnected the motor. Is that going to trip it again?
Hauling its first ever train after 40... Jen, stop it!
I'm just testing something.
And apparently this is a noise it is. Well, in that case, we have to hear it.
Okay, we can't hear that.
No, but I'm not going to put it on full volume. How noisy is that, I wonder?
I suspect it's going...
Okay, I'll turn it down.
Yeah, you won't be able to hear us. But I always love this railway because...
it's so nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's slipping a bit.
It's 45-year-old.
I know, there's quite a load on it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of chunkers there, aren't there?
Yeah, chunky monkey. So
they're double-deckers, or at least really tall. That is a big train. The one in the background, though. Huh. She can also handle first radius curves. Is that impressive?
That is actually, yeah, that is quite impressive.
Look at, my goodness, the detail in that background.
Do like that. That is actually a lovely model. And when
It
you
is,
think
it really
of its
is.
age, I mean, what you compare that with the kind of garbage that we were getting in the UK in the 70s, and yeah, I'm sorry, but we were. It has to be said. We were getting toys, and that is a model.
Thank you very much, Shanghai 264359. That is
Very
really
much.
impressive.
Always
a pleasure. He's always
John
got something different.
PW22 says, saw a photo in a book this morning of a GWR 442. Do you know that one, Jen? Not off the top of my head, but they did have some interesting wheel arrangements. Manthony 1956, better for someone to design a shunting circuit for the overload. Realise you need a certain amount of delay for surges in the circuitry. Tim Condrup says, thank you for showing my layout. You're absolutely welcome. Always a pleasure. And thank you very much for sending that in. Route 7 Railway says, thanks Jenny, very much appreciate. Regards Steve. You're more than welcome. Timber Surf, fuses and MCBs come with different characteristics. Fuses can be faster, but ones that are fast enough to protect electronics are usually huge and cost a fortune every time you blow them. Definitely. And let's have a look. Rule 1 Model Railways has sent one in as well, so sent you an
Excellent.
email with the link.
Excellent.
David Baker, Jenny, there should be a bridge rectifier on the decoder that converts the AC to DC so you can identify that and even replace it. The decoder may work again. I think the surface mount components, that's the issue. Do we have any others sent in?
Yeah, we've got a few.
Well, go on then.
Well, you were talking, so I was letting you. Right, the next one, I've turned the sound back on, guys, so hopefully this won't be too bad for you. Webcam and browser, let's bring this one up because this is the trailer for the Model Rail Network exhibition.
Right, yes, brilliant.
So
Ben Tullett, I'm going to sign off now, so my Wi-Fi is getting worse tonight. Everyone stay safe, you get safe too. And this is a trailer for the Model Rail Network Virtual Model Rail Exhibition. It's on from this Sunday. I did promote this one on the stream, so your opportunity to see the trailer, and hopefully somebody will be able to put a link in the description box.
I'll put a link in after this. Wow, that
is a lovely layout.
That is a lovely layout, yes.
I love that 52 there, almost weathered. In fact, that 1, 2, I'm going to say 1, 2, 1.
I like the detail inside the building on that bit.
Oh, I've got that locomotive. Intercity Class 47 Firefly. Somerset Andy was really kind enough to send me that, and I'm forever grateful. It's a Class 150 in, is that Central Trades?
Do you sometimes look at these videos and go, got, need, got?
What, like with football cards?
Yeah.
Occasionally.
I thought that was pretty good.
Occasionally. Right, have we got any more?
We will have. I'm just going to quickly grab the URL that they've sent.
And also, do we have any more requests for books whilst we're on?
Well, I'll find out soon, but I'm grabbing this and putting the URL into the chat. So yeah, there we go. There's the they've gone through or not? Oh, please tell me we didn't just
what did you just do?
It decided to halt. Hopefully we're still online.
Oh, did it just do a matador?
It decided that, no, it just decided, oh, you don't actually want to actually
It's gone up, there we are, facebook.com groups, and yeah, that's in there.
Okay, we have 3 more, so we're going to just take these. If any more come through, I'm sorry, we'll have to wait till next week. Right. So, let's have a look at what we've got.
Gary Lewis says, hi Jenny, look up Brian Lambert DCC website or the DCC guy on YouTube, how to install a car building series on the DCC Buswise. I'm going to definitely look into that because there's definitely some kind of an issue going on here. We're getting a lot of the spinny beach ball of doom.
Yeah, I think we may have to actually leave it at this one that's coming up if we can get it in.
Yeah, just check OBS and see, are we in the green, yellow or red?
We're still in green.
But I'm guessing it's prior. Oh, but why are we getting the spinny beach ball of doom?
Are you still getting signal through? Is anything coming through? It's
now got...
Yeah,
footbridge.
I'm just seeing how long the delay.
Right. Yeah, we're going to call it. And
we're getting some struggling. We're actually struggling on bandwidth now at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. New Mills Model Railway. This is going to be our last one tonight. We have got 2 others that have come in, which will go up next week. I'm sorry to say we can't send any more.
Oh gosh, there's heck of a delay. I've only just started waving.
It's like a 10-second delay.
That's a lot of delay. Right, anyway, so this, I've looked
we're going to have to make this one the last because the internet's just not going to cope.
It has a bit.
Sorry, guys.
It's gone a bit weird.
Those of you who've sent them in that we haven't got to yet, I'm sorry. We will get to them next week. Okay, let's have a look at this video. Jen, put your train down. It's not going to get any more broken. So we're going to have a look at New Mills. Let's get it back to the start. I'm going to see all of this. Oh, I like that. I like that.
Like this, and welcome back to New Mills Model Railway.
We're struggling to see.
Jump on a little bit, see what happens.
This footbridge we added to cream. This Metcalf
One of the things
goods yard
is that
crane kit.
especially
Really
if
nice
you've got,
kit.
like their
Bit
bright
fiddly,
light
but
outside, the camera kind of
that towards the end,
sets
especially with
its
the
light
chain.
level to
But
that,
apart from that,
and
it's a
it
really
can
nice
make
kit
it
and looks
more
quite
difficult. But
effective.
that crane as well,
Yeah.
is really
You
nice.
can see I've also added a goods yard platform
That's Tornado.
next to the goods shed
I guess that's Tornado.
onto the video. So
really
as well,
nice.
Some nice stuff.
being
It's
a lot of quick.
the issue
Warming.
is definitely. Oh, that's an interesting back scene.
I much prefer mod rock, so I might do the last bit over there
That
again
is nice. I
rather
like
than the
tunnel
paper
as
mache.
well, with the trees.
Not quite happy with that.
Is that the seafoam trees?
I've also added some of the Gauge Master Seafoam trees,
What appears to be some sort of low relief.
which look quite nice and effective.
Where are you seeing
All I've done is I've sprayed glue over the seafoam trees. Photo mount glue usually works and is the best. That's what I've used, the 3M photo mount
The grass.
glue, and then I've just scattered Gauge Master leaves over them.
Very good.
Seafoam.
In some cases, just the really dark ones, and on top of that,
Is it?
as well, the light.
Sorry about that. We've only just noticed because we don't actually have.
Those trees.
We're just saying we love the trees.
I'm wondering whether they're custom made.
Yeah, New Mills Mother Rose says can't hear your comments. Sorry about that. For some reason, we've ended up with sound on the video.
Yeah, it was meant to turn off.
It was, but it's gone and done its weird thing. But I do really like those trees. I'm guessing seafoam, but they are remarkably well done.
I can't tell whether that's a trench or a low wall or what, but it break. I know that a lot of people love
laser etched kit. That does look really nice. There's some really great kits on the market coming through, and they build up very easily. It's something that I want to do some reviews of. But it's a really great way of adding some of this detail in quite a resilient form to layout.
And as I was saying with the green before you jumped in about your laser kits, a lot of expansive green. I know it's realistic because there's large amounts of the countryside are just grass, but on a model sometimes it's nice to break them up, like a little wall here, like farmland, stuff like that. It really does work. This is looking good.
This is nice.
New Mills, very nice.
Yeah.
You need something like that.
Well, where would I put it though? There's no station.
You still need something like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll get some for the signal boxes.
And it looks even better when there's a lot of light.
I'm looking at the
very
time.
nice.
There's a few people having to head off, so I'm going to say if we're going to call it a night there, because we are actually past the 9 o'clock. But look, it's been great having you guys along. Thank you very much for hanging out. And to all of you who've bought books, if you have bought books during the stream, we will get those signed. And also, thank you very much if you bought books as well from the Amazon warehouse supplies. So obviously the comic collections, we can't sign those because they're coming from an Amazon warehouse.
Okay, we've got one more that you need to sign for both.
For both. Oh wow, this is exciting, isn't it?
This is for Peter Hart.
Peter Hart.
H-A-R-T.
So this is last chance saloon for anybody wanting to get signed copies of my books. On the link that we got in the description box down below.
Yeah. And for those who couldn't hear us because there was still background noise, sorry about that. I did click on it to silence that and it didn't seem to want to do it. But for those of you who sent in videos and we haven't seen them yet, they will go up first on next week's because we've run out of time and the internet was starting to go all flaky and weird with us. So yeah, we haven't missed you out. We do have the links, don't worry about that. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's been great. Did you forget how to spell your own name then?
No, I didn't.
Pause. You had to pause.
No, it was dramatic.
Yes, you did.
Dramatic
Yes, you
pause.
did.
So is that the final one?
That is the last one. So Nicholas and Andrew, you've sent in links. They'll go up next week. We will look at them next week. Don't worry.
But look, thank you all very much. It's been great having you aboard. Always great fun. And thanks again as well to tonight's live stream sponsor, All Mouse Media, who publish my books and Zoe's books as well. So we've had a great time with that, and thanks very much for your support. And everybody who's bought books during the stream, we've got them signed. You've watched me sign them. They're going to go in the post first thing tomorrow, so you will get them hopefully sometime this week. But thank you very, very much for your support. Now, as well, those who've donated on...
Richard Swiderski has a very good point.
What?
Who won, Hornby or Dapol?
My gut feeling is that, to be honest, equally matched, but plus points and minus points in different areas.
Why is that going so slow?
It shouldn't be going at all, to be honest with you. It's supposed to have stopped. 30. Yeah, there we are. Essentially, the Hornby one, its major detraction is the DCC fitting. If you want to go DCC or DCC sound especially, the only option for you realistically, I would say, is the Rails Dapol Terrier. If price is your major issue, then I would say go for the Hornby one. There's not a huge amount between them, but what there is relatively minor in the grand scheme of things. However, what I've discovered is that the faults with the Hornby Terrier, I believe, are more obvious than the faults with the Rails Dapol Terrier. And all in all, I think you pays your money and you takes your choice. But my personal recommendation would be the Rails Dapol Terrier, but only by a smidgen. And I believe that there is room in any collection for one or more of both. But until next week, don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you haven't already done so. You take really great care of yourself. And this is me, Jenny Kirk, signing off from the Monday Club with the Cupboard Monkey. Thank you very much for watching. You take great care of yourself. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
It's the awkward bit now where we look for the button.
Nah, it's fine. Bye-bye.